Today I have one super exciting video for you, or at least it's very exciting for me that I have to finally show cattleya blooms. Yay! I know that I look like a child, but it's been a whole year of stressful situations with cattleyas. I find their flowers so beautiful. They are perfumey. This one has super large flowers, beautiful colors, everything in a combo. However, because I live in a cold country, for me to get the adequate conditions for these cattleyas has been hard. It's not the easiest to plant, especially if you don't have experience with mixes and if you are learning. It has been a journey, but I discovered lots of stuff. So not only researching, but also I discovered things while I was growing my cattleyas. I lost many of them on the way. Although people say, oh, they are tough plants, but I had experience with pests that munch them down. I had experience with root rot and loss of canes and all sorts of stuff because of pests and then inadequate care. That's why I decided to do this video, because I may help you to grow your cattleyas, or if you live in a country that maybe it's not so easy like mine, you don't live in a hot country that have available light all the time for these plants. You may struggle with a little bit as well, or maybe for a beginner and you don't know which type or sort of conditions these plants need, maybe this video can help you. That's why I decided to do it, because also I want to showcase this beauty, but not only I want to tell you a little bit more about how I managed to finally bloom these plants and have other cattleyas full of roots and new growths. It's so exciting. I'm so happy. So the first thing that I will tell you is that with my journey with cattleyas, as I said, some of them were munched by pests, so I treated them. I lost growth of them. And then when I tried to recoup them, because the conditions were not adequate, I didn't know what I was doing, I lost the plants. The second thing that I noticed is that I was having lots of root rot, or maybe the plants were not growing so fast as I would like. I discovered there was a problem with the mix and how I was watering them. And the third thing is, even the ones that were doing well, that were healthy and pretty strong plants, even having them for 2 years or more, they were not blooming as well. They were mature plants. They didn't bloom for me. The pest issue is still an issue. It's an ongoing thing. I have a whole video about it. I will link it down below. But cattleyas are not the favorite plants for thrips, but they can eat them as well. So you can definitely treat your pests, but if you don't know how to offer the adequate care to your plants, it won't sort the issue out. What happened with cattleyas? Most of them, especially the most common ones, they are drought-tolerant plants. They come from tropical and hot places in the world. So for example, Brazil, that's my country. We have so many species of cattleyas from Brazil, and they are exposed to warm, very warm to hot temperature, and also bright light. These plants, they don't mind drying out. So the first thing that I noticed is I could leave these plants completely dry for a few days and they would be fine, and they will be better than if I water them so much or water them more than they need. So they hate to become soaked for a long period of time. That's really important if you live in a cold country, because you definitely need to take care or be careful with the watering routine of your cattleyas. They don't like too much water, so you need to water them only when they are completely dry. That's what I discovered with my own experience and my journey with my cattleyas. If they are dry for 3 days or so, they won't mind. They will be totally fine. When you give them some water, they wouldn't care. Usually, not even the canes become like shrinked, like with oncidiums. They can take a while to become stressed with lack of watering. They are pretty tough in this sense, and they will do better if you don't water them so often compared to oncidiums, for example. So that's the first thing that I noticed, that I should stop watering them so much or too much and watering them specifically when they were completely dry. And I noticed that it was really good. They start producing more roots and more growths. So first thing, I noticed that I need to change my watering routine with these plants, which is great. They don't need so much water, so They are more resistant than other types of houseplants and orchids as well. Pretty tough beans. After that, I changed the light. They are adapted to highlight. In order for you to bloom most of the cattleyas, not all of them, but most of them, you need to offer them some highlight. So they were under some growing lights. There are some that are still there. They can produce new growths, but they didn't bloom for me. I think the light was not the perfect light. I changed some of my growing lights, but at the time the growing lights were not adequate for this type of plant. So this one is a good example. This is with me for a long time. It has never bloomed. So what I decided to do, I have a very bright window here that I have to be careful when it's spring and summer. This is like maybe southern window because it can burn leaves of many plants, or the plant will become dehydrated because the sun can be quite hot and strong. But cattleyas, they didn't mind a bit, honestly. I didn't have problems. The leaves were not burned, the canes were okay, and they were super happy. So if you have a bright spot in your house, a very, very bright window, place your cattleya there and let me know what happened to it. The leaves can get burned. They can. If you offer midday sunshine probably in a hot country, for example, maybe the leaves will burn. But here in London, being on this window all summer, all spring, the leaves were okay. The leaves were not burned, and the cattleyas were so happy that I was very, very impressed because it were against the odds. I thought that I would maybe burn its leaves, that maybe it would get too hot, but they loved and they enjoyed a lot. So the next thing that I did was I changed the light. I placed it here, and with the bright, very bright light, what happened is I started having spikes. This one gave me 3 flowers here and 2 other buds here, but I think it was very close to now the windows are cold, so that was my fault. Be careful with that. They don't enjoy frozen conditions. They are tropical plants. So I lost 2 buds, but look at the size of these flowers. It's amazing, so big, so amazing, so beautiful. So what I would advise you to do, find a bright spot. And to conclude, this video is not supposed to be a long one. I noticed that my cattleyas, they prefer the bright, natural sunlight than growing lights. They can grow under growing lights. Maybe you need to find specific growing lights for highlight plants. I'm sure there are people that are successful with growing lights, but I noticed that the ones that are on the windowsill, they are growing faster and healthier than the ones that are under my growing lights. So my conclusion is that they prefer natural, strong sunlight. That's why I will definitely keep, when it's spring and summer, all of the ones that I can near the windows behind me, because I know that these windows can make them grow new roots, new leaves, and bloom for me. So that's what I want to tell you today. For me, this is a great news because I'm waiting for having like beautiful, fluffy cattleyas flower for so long, and I finally been rewarded with this beauty. I know that's a pink cattleya, I don't have its ID, but nonetheless, it's beautiful and I'm so happy with it. It is perfumey, it's like a maybe rosy perfume, something on the sorts. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.